Ratings are crashing across the NFL, and it's not because of injuries, weather, or even the quality of the games. For the Cleveland Browns, the numbers are terrifying. Thursday night football matchups that should have drawn millions are suddenly flopping, with an 18% drop compared to last season. Analysts, advertisers, and network executives are scrambling, and the blame isn't hard to find. It all comes down to one player sitting on the bench, Shedeur Sanders. You might be asking yourself, how can a single rookie quarterback, barely seeing consistent playing time, have this kind of influence? That's exactly what makes this story so shocking. Preseason games where Sanders played just a single quarter drew more viewers than marquee regular season matchups where he wasn't on the field at all. Social media content featuring him, clips, highlights, even sideline moments, blows up, accumulating more engagement than full games. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Sanders dominates every platform, generating discussions that ripple through sports media, entertainment news, and fan communities alike. The numbers aren't just impressive, they're undeniable evidence that he's transcended the role of a traditional athlete. And the consequences of this benching are massive. Networks like NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN, and streaming platforms such as Amazon Prime are watching ratings plummet. Advertisers are questioning their investments, and league officials are scrambling for damage control. Thursday night games that should guarantee audience engagement are instead forcing executives into emergency conference calls, trying to figure out how a single coaching decision can tank billions of dollars in broadcasting deals. But the problem isn't just financial, it's cultural. Fans aren't simply disappointed. They're organizing, protesting, boycotting, and making their voices heard online. Hashtag campaigns demanding Sanders' play are trending daily. Social media debates have become full-blown cultural phenomena, with public figures weighing in and fans treating the situation as more than a game. It's a personal grievance against a system that seems unwilling to recognize his value. This isn't just a story about a coach refusing to play a rookie. It's a story about how modern sports, media, and culture collide. Sanders' presence or absence is forcing the NFL to confront uncomfortable truths about viewership, audience influence, and the balance between competitive merit and entertainment value. And as ratings continue to drop and pressure mounts, one question looms over Cleveland and the league itself. How long can tradition hold back a force this powerful before the system collapses around it? The numbers coming out of Cleveland are more than alarming. They're unprecedented. Thursday Night Football, a showcase designed to capture primetime audiences, delivered season-low ratings when the Browns took the field without Shedeur Sanders. Analysts are calling it a full-scale audience rejection, and the math doesn't lie. Compared to the same matchup last year, viewership dropped by a staggering 18%, a decline severe enough to rattle network executives and advertisers alike. This isn't a minor fluctuation caused by scheduling conflicts or competing entertainment. It's a systemic warning sign. Fans are tuning out. Even more striking, this drop isn't isolated to a single game. Nielsen data and industry insiders confirm a troubling pattern. Any broadcast featuring Sanders, even in limited appearances, consistently outperforms matchups where he's absent. Preseason games where Sanders logged minimal reps attracted more viewers than marquee regular season contests, a scenario that would have been unthinkable just a year ago. Social media metrics reinforce the story. Sanders' highlights rack up millions of impressions, his clips garner more attention than entire games, and Twitter chatter about his potential playing time eclipses discussions about actual game outcomes. The audience clearly knows who they want to see, and it's not happening on the field. Advertisers aren't blind to these patterns. They rely on consistent audience numbers to justify massive investments, and right now, their confidence is eroding. Corporate sponsors are asking for explanations, demanding guarantees, and reconsidering budgets tied to NFL broadcasts. Every point of viewership lost isn't just a rating, it's a tangible financial hit that threatens both network profitability and franchise revenue. Meanwhile, executives at NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN, and Amazon are reportedly in emergency discussions, scrambling to understand how one player's absence can disrupt multi-billion-dollar deals. the implications go beyond money. Viewer disengagement signals a cultural shift in how audiences consume sports. Fans are no longer passive observers. They have expectations, preferences, and influence. When those expectations aren't met, they act, whether by switching channels, skipping broadcasts, or engaging in social media campaigns to amplify their dissatisfaction. In short, the ratings collapse isn't just a statistic, it's a declaration. The NFL's current approach isn't resonating, and one name sits at the heart of this upheaval: Shedeur Sanders. And while numbers tell part of the story, the real question remains: what does this mean for the league, the networks, and the Browns organization? Because the consequences of this refusal to deploy Sanders extend far beyond simple viewership. It's threatening the foundation of professional football's entertainment empire. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a rookie quarterback. He's a phenomenon, and the numbers make it undeniable. Social media metrics reveal a level of influence rarely seen in professional sports. TikTok clips of Sanders' highlights routinely rack up millions of views, often surpassing entire game broadcasts. Instagram posts featuring even minor moments from practice or sideline interactions explode with engagement, accumulating hundreds of thousands of likes and comments within hours. Twitter discussions about whether he should play often trend nationally, drawing far more attention than the outcomes of the games themselves. Sanders doesn't just capture attention, he dominates it. The most fascinating part: this influence isn't limited to casual fans. Sports media personalities, analysts, and commentators are amplifying his presence daily. Figures like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless have framed him as essential to the league's popularity, declaring that the NFL loses its energy and cultural relevance without Sanders on the field. Their commentary goes viral, creating a feedback loop where social media attention, television discussion, and fan engagement fuel one another. Sanders has effectively transformed himself into a cultural force whose significance extends far beyond traditional football metrics. This kind of star power has real consequences for the NFL. Fans now make choices not solely based on team loyalty or game outcomes, but on whether Sanders will be part of the action. Preseason games where he played limited snaps drew larger audiences than marquee regular season matchups where he was absent. Highlight packages of Sanders alone often outperformed full-game broadcasts in terms of online engagement. It's clear, the audience wants him, and they're willing to disengage when he isn't featured. But it's more than just numbers. It's a shift in how professional sports operate in the digital age. Sanders bridges the gap between athlete and entertainer. He's culturally fluent, media-savvy, and capable of generating attention independently of traditional broadcasting structures. His mere presence drives revenue, conversation, and fan loyalty, redefining what it means to be a valuable player in today's NFL. And as the league watches these metrics, frustration builds among networks, advertisers, and league officials alike. They realize that in today's media landscape, the traditional approach, relying solely on coaching decisions and competitive merit, may no longer satisfy modern audiences. Sanders' star power has changed the game before he even takes a full snap, and the question looming over the NFL is clear: how long can they ignore a player whose influence now rivals the league itself? The fallout from Sanders' benching isn't limited to social media buzz. It's hitting the very foundation of the NFL's business model. Advertisers, the lifeblood of professional football, are growing increasingly concerned. Major corporations, automotive brands, beverage companies, insurance firms, tech giants, invest millions of dollars expecting guaranteed audience delivery. When ratings for Thursday Night Football plummet by 18%, these sponsors don't just notice, they demand explanations. Questions arise: are they receiving the promised exposure? Should they reallocate budgets to other sports properties or digital entertainment platforms that can guarantee engagement? The uncertainty is enough to send shockwaves through the league. Networks aren't immune to the pressure. NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN, and streaming services like Amazon Prime have collectively paid billions for NFL broadcasting rights, expecting consistent viewership to justify their investments. But when a single player's absence triggers a ratings collapse, executives start asking difficult questions. Some are reportedly exploring clauses in future contracts tied to audience performance, while others demand guarantees that star players will actually take the field. These conversations aren't theoretical. They have real implications for the league's bottom line. Adding to the tension, social media acts as an uncontrollable amplifier. Hashtag campaigns like Play Sanders and NFL Expose trend daily, showing advertisers and networks the direct connection between one player and audience engagement. Fans aren't waiting for the league to act. They're organizing boycotts, flooding ticket resale markets, and reshaping viewing habits. Advertisers watching these behaviors know that continued disengagement threatens not only ratings, but their own return on investment. The combined weight of declining ratings, vocal fan pressure, and network frustration creates a perfect storm. The NFL is caught between traditional competitive principles and the modern demands of entertainment economics. Every week that Sanders remains sidelined, advertisers question the value of multi-million-dollar deals, networks contemplate renegotiating contracts, and the league faces mounting pressure to reconcile these conflicting priorities. In short, the stakes are enormous. What started as a coaching decision has morphed into a financial and reputational crisis, one that challenges the very mechanics of professional football. The question looming over the league isn't just about who starts at quarterback. It's whether the NFL can survive in an era where audience demand, social influence, and media scrutiny outweigh traditional authority. Sanders isn't just a player. He's a catalyst exposing the cracks in the NFL's carefully constructed empire. The benching of Shedeur Sanders isn't just a coaching controversy. It sparked a full-blown social media uprising. Fans aren't quietly frustrated anymore. They're organizing, coordinating, and turning their disappointment into measurable action. Hashtag campaigns like Play Sanders and NFL Exposed have become daily phenomena, trending nationally as millions of viewers demand to see him on the field. These aren't isolated social media gripes. They're intentional, coordinated efforts to pressure both the Browns organization and the NFL. Fans are using every tool at their disposal. Ticket resale markets are flooded, with supporters explicitly avoiding games until Sanders plays. Jersey sales of Sanders soar even as attendance at Browns games declines, creating an unusual but powerful economic statement. Viewing parties are canceled, social media communities coordinate boycotts, and online discussions have transformed into strategic campaigns with measurable impacts on revenue and engagement. It's rare for fans to influence professional sports this directly, but Sanders' situation has broken the traditional dynamic. Media figures have amplified this backlash, fueling public pressure. Commentators like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless have made Sanders benching a headline issue, declaring that the league itself suffers when he isn't playing. Their segments go viral, adding credibility to fan frustrations and creating a feedback loop where social attention generates traditional media coverage, which then fuels further social media discussion. Sanders has become a cultural focal point, a symbol of modern audience influence over traditional authority. The effects are clear. Ratings decline when Sanders isn't on the field, advertisers grow wary, and networks feel the pressure to deliver content that aligns with fan demand. This isn't just about a rookie quarterback, it's about a shift in power. Audiences now have a voice that can impact billions of dollars in contracts, corporate investment, and media rights. The fans aren't passive spectators. They're active participants shaping the league's strategy and priorities. The situation highlights a broader truth about modern professional sports. Social media influence can rival, and sometimes surpass, the authority of coaches, owners, and even league officials. Sanders' presence drives attention, engagement, and revenue, and every day he remains sidelined, the backlash intensifies. What started as disappointment has become a cultural movement, and the Browns organization, the NFL, and networks alike are feeling the full weight of it. And this is only the beginning. As the league grapples with this unprecedented fan activism, one question looms larger than ever. How long can the NFL resist the demands of an audience that refuses to be ignored? At the heart of the Shedeur Sanders saga lies a clash between two fundamentally different priorities: traditional coaching philosophy and modern entertainment economics. Kevin Stefanski, like many coaches in the NFL, operates under the belief that meritocracy should dictate playing time. Practices, reps, and systematic development are his guiding principles. Decisions are made on what he believes is best for the team's competitive success, not what will generate clicks, hashtags, or social media engagement. In theory, this approach is admirable, focused, disciplined, and grounded in football fundamentals. But the reality of the modern NFL complicates that philosophy. Fans aren't just watching for the sport, they're watching for personalities. Advertisers and networks are no longer satisfied with traditional metrics like wins and losses alone. Ratings, social media engagement, and cultural relevance now carry equal weight, and Sanders embodies all three. His presence, or absence, directly influences audience behavior, advertiser confidence, and even future broadcasting contracts. Each snap he sits out represents not just lost points on the field, but lost revenue, diminished exposure, and eroding fan loyalty. This conflict places Brown's ownership, led by Jimmy Haslam, in an impossible position. Haslam drafted Sanders not just for talent, but for marketability. Every day Sanders remains sidelined is a lost opportunity to maximize franchise visibility, drive merchandise sales, and maintain national relevance. At the same time, Stefanski's adherence to coaching principles creates tension, as traditional evaluation clashes with economic realities. The league itself watches closely, aware that failure to reconcile these forces could set a precedent for all teams. Commissioner Roger Goodell faces his own dilemma. He cannot simply order a coach to play a particular player without undermining competitive integrity, yet the NFL's financial ecosystem, broadcasting deals, advertising revenue, and international expansion, depends on compelling content and audience engagement. The Sanders situation forces an uncomfortable question. In an era where social media and fan influence can dictate billions of dollars in revenue, should entertainment value ever override meritocratic principles? Many ways, Sanders' benching is more than a football decision. It's a collision between tradition and modernity. Coaching philosophies rooted in competition now intersect with a media-driven economy that rewards personality and marketability. And as the NFL watches ratings fall and social media erupts, the tension grows. The league is confronting a fundamental truth. Talent alone no longer guarantees success. Visibility, charisma, and audience demand can shape outcomes just as decisively.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button.
Shedeur Sanders hasn't stayed silent while the controversy swirls around him. In the aftermath of another frustrating game, he took to Instagram with a cryptic post. "They tried to hide me, but the numbers don't lie." Within hours, the post had exploded, millions of likes, hundreds of thousands of comments, and countless shares across platforms. Sanders' social media presence rivals entertainment industry celebrities, and this post made it clear that his influence extends far beyond the football field. The language of the post is telling. By framing the situation as "they tried to hide me," Sanders taps into a narrative that fans immediately understood. A young star being suppressed by an organization unwilling or unable to recognize his value. Whether or not the perception is entirely accurate, the effect is undeniable. Fans saw it as confirmation of the frustration they'd already been feeling, and they responded with a flood of engagement, further amplifying his voice. Sanders became not just a player, but a symbol of modern athlete empowerment, someone whose visibility alone drives discussion, revenue, and cultural relevance. This cultural phenomenon isn't limited to social media metrics. Brands and media outlets have taken notice, reaching out for endorsement deals, interviews, and even documentary opportunities. Sanders transcends the traditional boundaries of sports, straddling the line between athlete, entertainer, and influencer. His popularity now exerts economic pressure. Merchandise sales spike, viewership patterns shift, and fan engagement drives revenue in ways that don't even depend on on-field performance. In short, Sanders creates value simply by existing as a compelling personality. The implications are staggering for the NFL. Sanders has effectively become untouchable in terms of influence, and yet his benching continues. The league, broadcasters, advertisers, and even international fans are all affected by this single organizational decision. Social media campaigns, public commentary, and viral content have transformed what might have been a local coaching dispute into a national, and even global, discussion. Sanders' cultural power forces institutions built on tradition to confront the reality of modern media, where visibility, charisma, and audience influence can rival competitive performance in shaping outcomes. As the debate rages, one truth is clear. Shedeur Sanders has redefined what it means to be valuable in professional football. He is not just a quarterback waiting to play. He is a phenomenon whose presence drives the league's most critical metrics. And until the Browns acknowledge that power, the controversy, and the impact on the NFL will only continue to grow. Shedeur Sanders' influence doesn't stop at American borders. It extends across the globe, and the NFL is starting to feel the pressure. The league has invested heavily in international expansion, targeting younger audiences in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Every global broadcast, every streaming partnership, and every promotional campaign has relied on compelling talent to draw in new fans. Sanders, with his recognizable name, cultural fluency, and social media sophistication, represents the perfect vehicle for this growth. Yet international viewers are signaling a harsh reality. If Sanders isn't on the field, they aren't watching. Take the NFL's flagship international broadcasts, including London games featuring the Browns. These matchups were meant to showcase the league to millions of overseas viewers, but the absence of Sanders delivered disappointing numbers. Fans across Europe and Asia took to social media, expressing frustration and disinterest in watching games where a backup quarterback ran conservative plays while the most compelling rookie remained benched. Analysts warn that this could have long-term consequences, eroding the credibility of the NFL as a premier sports brand on the global stage. International media outlets have been particularly vocal. European sports journalists, accustomed to merit-based opportunity and high entertainment value in leagues like the Premier League, are openly bewildered. Columnists have criticized the NFL for allowing ego-driven coaching decisions to undermine what they see as a billion-dollar enterprise. Headlines question how a league that claims to be the world's leading sports organization can tolerate such apparent mismanagement of talent and star power. The ripple effect reaches far beyond ratings. Global advertisers, distributors, and streaming partners have all invested heavily in NFL content with the expectation that star players like Sanders will be featured. When those expectations aren't met, contracts, renewals, and future deals are jeopardized. Amazon Prime, Sky Sports, DAZN, and other international partners reportedly held urgent meetings to reassess investments, all while the league scrambles to explain why its most marketable rookie is sidelined. Sanders' international appeal underscores a critical point. The NFL is no longer just a domestic league. It operates in a competitive global entertainment market where fan attention is volatile and loyalty is earned, not guaranteed. Bench the wrong player and audiences walk away. Sanders has become a linchpin in the NFL's global strategy, a star whose presence, or absence, can determine the success of the league's expansion ambitions. The world is watching, and every week he remains sidelined. The NFL risks losing more than just ratings. It risks credibility, revenue, and the trust of a growing international fan base. The Browns' decision to keep Shedeur Sanders on the bench has created a strategic dilemma that reaches far beyond X's and O's. Every week without him in the lineup compounds the problem, forcing networks, advertisers, and fans into action while simultaneously eroding the franchise's own value. Ratings continue to plummet, merchandise sales stagnate, and ticket demand weakens. Meanwhile, social media campaigns calling for Sanders to play grow louder, amplifying public scrutiny and turning a football decision into a full-blown economic and cultural crisis. Ownership faces a catch-22. Start Sanders, and they risk appearing to cave to public pressure or undermine the coach's authority. Keep him sidelined, and they watch the franchise hemorrhage revenue, credibility, and fan loyalty. Every day Sanders sits out, the Browns lose more than just points on the field. They lose control over narrative, perception, and influence. Advertisers, who invest millions expecting guaranteed audiences, are questioning whether continued association with the Browns and the NFL makes sense. Networks, who spent billions securing broadcasting rights, are demanding assurances or reconsidering future deals. The league office is caught in a bind as well. Commissioner Roger Goodell cannot intervene directly without creating a dangerous precedent. If external pressures dictate playing time, coaching autonomy is undermined across the NFL. Yet ignoring the crisis threatens billions in broadcasting revenue, international expansion plans, and the league's reputation. The Sanders situation exposes a tension at the heart of modern professional sports. The balance between competitive integrity and entertainment economics is no longer theoretical. It has real, immediate consequences. Fans have proven their power, leveraging coordinated action to influence outcomes previously reserved for coaches and owners. Jersey sales, ticket boycotts, and viral campaigns aren't just symbolic. They represent measurable economic behaviors that impact revenue streams and influence decision-making. Meanwhile, the media continues to escalate scrutiny, framing Sanders as a cultural phenomenon whose absence from the field undermines the entire league. In short, the Browns are trapped between authority and accountability, tradition and modernity, competition and entertainment. The longer Sanders remains benched, the more entrenched the consequences become, threatening relationships with advertisers, networks, and global audiences alike. Every decision carries risk, yet inaction may be the most dangerous option of all. The NFL is at a crossroads, forced to weigh the value of coaching philosophy against the economic and cultural realities of the 21st century sports landscape. How the Browns and the league navigate this dilemma could redefine professional football forever. The saga of Shedeur Sanders isn't just about one rookie quarterback. It's about the NFL at a crossroads. Ratings are falling. Advertisers are questioning multi-million-dollar investments. Networks are demanding guarantees, and fans are making their voices heard in unprecedented ways. Every decision surrounding Sanders reflects a larger tension between tradition and modernity, competition and entertainment, authority and influence. How the league resolves this dilemma could shape professional football for decades to come. At its core, the situation exposes a fundamental shift in audience expectations. Modern viewers aren't just passive consumers of sport. They demand personalities, stories, and cultural relevance. Sanders has proven he can deliver all three, drawing attention that rivals entire teams, entire games, even marquee matchups. His social media presence, viral highlights, and international appeal create value independent of traditional performance metrics. Fans have shown they will disengage if these expectations aren't met, signaling that the NFL's success is no longer guaranteed by roster strength or historical loyalty alone. For the Browns, every week Sanders remains sidelined represents a tangible cost. Ticket sales stagnate, merchandise revenue underperforms, national media coverage becomes increasingly negative, and fan frustration mounts. At the same time, starting him could be perceived as succumbing to external pressure, potentially undermining coaching authority and challenging the traditional meritocratic structure of the sport. There's no easy solution, only a high-stakes balancing act where every choice carries significant consequences. The league itself faces a broader dilemma. Commissioner Goodell and NFL executives cannot simply dictate playing time without risking precedent that could compromise competitive integrity. Yet the financial, cultural, and global stakes are too high to ignore. Ratings decline threatens broadcasting contracts, advertising revenue, and international growth. Sanders has become the linchpin of a modern NFL ecosystem, where entertainment value, charisma, and social influence intersect with athletic performance in unprecedented ways. Ultimately, the Sanders saga forces the NFL, and all professional sports leagues, to confront an unavoidable truth. Modern audiences have power, and ignoring it carries real consequences. The Browns and the league must decide whether to prioritize traditional philosophy or adapt to the realities of a media-driven, globally connected, and engagement-focused world. Sanders isn't just waiting for his opportunity on the field, he's already reshaping the game off it. How the NFL responds will determine not only the trajectory of a single player, but the future of professional football as both sport and entertainment. The clock is ticking, the fans are watching, and every decision matters.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.